In this video, I'm going to be demonstrating how to make classes and objects in Java, as well as use a couple of different methods. We're going to create a constructor. We're going to do, like I said, a couple other little things here. So let's get started. Let's create a new project. Next, and we're going to call this thing dog object example. Okay. All right, so this is our main program, and what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to add a second Java class into my program here. I'm going to right-click my package name, which is dog object example. I'm going to right-click it, create a new Java class. In this thing, we're going to call it dog, capital D for dog. Okay. So I'm actually going to start my program by beginning to make my object first, my class, I should say. So we're going to create this thing, and then we'll edit our main so that it works within the dog. So for a dog, there's a few things I'm going to add in. I'm going to add in 4 variables here. So variables for characteristics. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a private variable called a string. It's of type string. And it's going to be the dog's name and the dog's breed. So these are going to be private strings associated with the dog. I'm also going to create 2 private ints. So one's going to be for aggression. Oops, I think I spelled aggression wrong. Aggression. And one for hunger. So how hungry the dog is, we'll use an integer value to determine that. The next thing I'm going to do is create a constructor for it. So the first one is going to be public dog bracket. So this is the constructor for my dog. So when I create my dog, this is going to be the default constructor. So if I know nothing about my dog, this is the one that's going to run. So we're going to give everything sort of default values. So I'm going to say that the dog's name is going to equal Rufus Doe, kind of like John Doe, but I don't know what it is, right? The dog breed is going to equal unknown breed. The aggression, I'm going to set that to 0 because I don't know what it is. And my hunger, I'm going to set that to 0 as well. Okay. So that is my default constructor. So when I go to create my dog, if I don't know anything about it, I'm going to use this one here. I'm going to create another constructor, though, that I'm going to send all of the values in as parameters. So show you how this works. So we're going to go public dog. Inside here, I'm going to go string dg name, string dg breed, int agg, and int hung, like that. These are going to be my input variables. So I'm going to pass in the name, the breed, the aggression, and the hunger. So all I need to do now is set all of my variables up here into the ones that correspond for here. So the first one is dog name. So we're going to go dog name equals dg name. Dog breed equals dg breed. Aggression equals agg. And hunger equals hung. Now I made a typo here. It's dg, not db. There we go, dg for dog, right? Okay, so the idea in this particular constructor is I'm going to send in the name, the breed, the aggression, the hunger, send them in, and all of those variables will be filled in. They're going to be inputs into the brackets here. I'm also going to make just one more alternative constructor. And in this one, I'm only going to send in the name and the breed. Public dog, so it's going to be string dg name and string dg breed. So in this one, this constructor only uses the name and breed. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the aggression and hunger to random numbers. So, I mean, I could do random numbers on this one too, but in this case, I'm just going to put random ones in this. So let's go with dog name equals dg name, because that's the input parameter coming in. Dog breed equals dg breed. And then the last one, or the last two I should say, we're gonna say aggression equals int math.random bracket times 10 plus 1. So it's basically just going to be a random number between 1 and 10. Hunger, we're going to do the exact same thing. Int math.random times 10 plus 1. Same exact thing. So random hunger number between 1 and 10. Okay. Now let's make another little method inside of this thing here. Just a little demo. So I'm going to make this thing and make the dog be able to bark. So I'm going to go public void bark friendly bracket. And inside of here, all it's going to do is just go system out println arf. So this method here, it's a void method, so it doesn't return anything out of it. And the method, it just says bark friendly, and there's no input parameters. So it's really easy to use in our main, and I'll show you how that works a little bit later on. Okay, let's also create our bark angry. Public void bark angry. It'd be the same thing. And we're just going to go grr rough like that. So it's just a different method, different name, and a different instruction inside of it. The last thing I'm going to do for my dog is I'm going to make a method to display all info of the dog. So this is sort of like a classic method that almost every object is going to use. And it's public string toString bracket. And inside of here, what we're going to do is we're basically going to make an output string, and then we're going to return it out. So here's how I like to do it. So string output equals name colon plus the dog's name plus the /n, and then output plus equals. Plus equals just means it just attaches it. It doesn't remove what's in the output. It just attaches more lines into it, so it concatenates it. So let's do the breed. Same thing. Plus dog breed plus the /n. Output plus equals the aggression, and then plus the aggression. Whoops. I'm trying to type too fast here. /n. And then lastly, the hunger value. Plus hunger. And that's it. And then so basically my output string is complete. Return it. So when we're saying public string toString, it means I have to send back a string. So to do that, I'm going to write return output, and that's it right there. Okay, now this line here, okay, this is a recommendation. We're going to add override on this thing. Okay, you should do that whenever you have this particular method. This is sort of like a built-in method inside of Java. And when you create your own custom objects like I'm doing here with my dog, it's not necessary to have that, but you should have it. It's just saying that you're overriding the default toString method is what you're doing. So it'll give you a little warning to put that in, that little notation in. Okay, so our dog is now complete. Let's actually figure out how to use this thing now. So in my main program, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create 3 dogs. So dog 1 is going to be a new dog. And I'm going to use the full constructor with everything. So first thing was the name. So again, if you're looking over here, okay, the big long one, this one has a name, then a breed, then the aggression, then a hunger. So my name for this one is going to be Rover. The breed is going to be Spaniel. It's going to have an aggression of 8 and a hunger of 4. That's my first dog. My second dog, dog 2, it's going to be a new dog. Its name is going to be Spot, and its breed will be a Border Collie. and I'm not sending in the aggression or the hunger. So what'll happen is I'm sending in two strings. Java is going to look at all my constructors. I've got three of them, 1, 2, 3, and figure out, okay, do I have one with two strings? Yes, I do. It's right here on line 26. It's going to run all this, and it's going to actually set the aggression, the hunger to random numbers. The last one is going to be the default dog. So dog 3, this will be a new dog, and bracket bracket. So I'm sending nothing in. And again, what Java will do is it'll look for constructors that have no inputs. It's this one right here. It's my default constructor. So that dog is going to be known as Rufus Doe, unknown breed, 0 and 0. Okay, so let's print out the details of each dog, just to show you it works. So system.out.println dog1.toString. That return, remember, that returns a string with all of the values. Println, and I'm just going to put a bunch of dashes. This is sort of separate them. Println, oops, dog2.toString. I know some of you are thinking something about that toString, and I'm going to explain that in a second here. Don't worry. Okay, so let's just start with the first two. So when I run it, it should show the information about my first two dogs. So I've got Rover is the Spaniel, aggression is 8, hunger is 4. It's exactly what we want to see, okay? Spot is a Border Collie with 5 and 8. Those are random, so if I run it again, I get different numbers. Okay. Now, something you should know about this toString method. It's a very special method built into Java. As long as you write it exactly the way that I wrote it, so I have it like these two lines right here. These have to be identical. So it has to be public string toString, exactly like that. And I think the override needs to be there nowadays, but I'm not sure. I think you can remove the override and it'll still work. But it's recommended you have that. But as long as you have this thing here, watch what you can do. So you can just do this. Dog3. You don't even need to put toString. What Java will do is, if I'm trying to print out this object, it's going to look and see if there is a toString method, and if there is, it'll print out the result of that method. So it's even more simple. You don't even need to put the toString in for that. It's a really unique method, and it only works for that method that I'm aware of. Okay, so let's see if it actually works. Oh, and I'm just going to write a comment here. toString is called by default. No need to write it. So that's a really cool feature of the toString method. Just makes it a lot easier if you're going to print it out. Provided you actually make a nice little output sentence right here, or output string, it'll work really easily. And sure enough, there's dog number 3 at the bottom. So it's pretty cool. The only other thing I didn't do is I didn't try out these two methods, bark friendly and bark angry. Let's try them out real quick here. So we're going to make dog 1 bark friendly, and dog 2 barks angry. So dog 1 dot bark friendly, and dog 2 dot bark angry. All right, let's run it. Let's see if they bark at the end. Yep, the two methods actually ran. So this is a little demo just of making objects, a little bit about constructors, how they work, and a little explanation of the toString. So it's hopefully you got something out of this. It's just a little example, like I said, of building objects in Java.